So for those who are new joining us today, thank you very much for joining us. And those who have joined us before, also thank you very much for your continued participation in our Caribbean Climate Responsive Agriculture Forum. And so today, just for a quick setup, so please, if you could just, rename yourself, your country, and also, just send in your flag in the chat so we can get an idea of where you are from in the region. And also could keep your mic on mute. I know sometimes we get persons whose mic get unmuted accidentally. So if you could please keep your mic on mute so as not to distract and interrupt the presenters while they're speaking. Of course, not only that, I want my lovely face to show and that of our presenters. It would be nice to see, the lovely faces across the region. It's a nice and sunny day today, maybe some rain some places. So we could see some nice, lovely faces. You are free to turn on your camera. Also, when we reach the question and answer section, our discussion, you are free to either put your question in the chat, or you could raise your hand and open your mic and speak. And also this session will be recorded. And also we will be sharing the recording with you after the session, and also the PowerPoint presentations for persons who are interested. And so today's agenda, as I said, my name is Michaela Gregor Karai. I will be your moderator today. We will have with us Helen's daughter, Miss Kipling Karu, will give us a little background on, this agriculture organization, what she has been doing across the region with women in agriculture. We also have Alpha Senan of YFAM, which will give us also a background on his engagement with children, youth across the region in agriculture. And then we'll have a nice open discussions for you to ask your questions, give some of your feedback, and even some of your own experiences. And so for persons who are new, maybe I should have made a little test for a little gift to get someone to give me what the objectives of the forum are. I'll probably save that for a later date. But for persons who are new, the key objectives of this forum is that we really want to raise awareness and share knowledge on climate smart agriculture across the region. And so, a lot of information we get now is the impacts of climate change, heavy rainfall, temperature increases, flooding. And so we want to raise awareness of some of the impacts of those things and the practices that we can implement to address some of these climatic issues. Also, we want to build a community of interested persons, and it is really nice to see that we have a very good following from since we have restarted the forum in 2021 after the epidemic, and this would have officially started in 2015. And so we are building a good community. We also have our Facebook page and our Twitter pages where we can engage even further. We want to also promote enhanced coordination. A lot of times when we are asked, what can we do to improve, the resilience and the sustainability of the agriculture sector, that tends to come up that, various sectors and private and public sectors need to coordinate and collaborate. But more so for us, what we seek to do is not just share information with you, but also how do we translate that information to action on the ground, implementation, actually doing what needs to be done to address the issues that we experience. And not only climate issues, these are not the only issues that impact us. They are very important, but they're also key socioeconomic issues that also affect us. And so these are the key objectives of this forum. And so today we have the lovely Miss Kipling Karu and Mr. Alpha Senan with us, and they will give us a background on, how they have developed and how the functioning of the organizations have been going, the engagement of youth and women, how you have various business models, and also opportunities that are in the agribusiness value chain. And so before I call Kiflin to speak, what I'm going to do, I'm going to launch a poll on your screen. And if you could just take a few seconds to fill it out, to give us an idea of persons that may be part of a group and persons who might be interested of being part of an agriculture organization. Few minutes, and in the meantime, I'll call Kiflin to share her screen and go ahead and do her presentation. Thank you very much.
Just trying to pull it up. Give me 1 second. You know how technology can be.
No problem. So while she's setting up, so she is the founder and executive director of Helen's Daughter. And Kiflin is also one of ICA's Goodwill Ambassador based on the work that she has been doing with women across the region. And so whenever you're ready, Kiflin, you could go ahead, okay?
Perfect. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. It's so lovely to see so many persons that are interested, particularly in this forum regarding children, youth, and women organizations in agriculture, climate action, and sustainability. As I was introduced by the lovely Nikelia, I run a nonprofit organization, quasi-social enterprise called Helen's Daughters that works not only in St. Lucia, but in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and also St. Kitts and Nevis. While we work primarily with women, it's not solely limited to women, but also younger women as well. And we work in 3 main ways, providing market access, providing inclusion and learning in adaptive agricultural techniques, and of course, capacity building. I see many Helen's Daughters and actually participants from the Rural Women's Academy in the chat. So it's also really great to see you all. But primarily, we work at a grassroots level. We don't look at ourselves as a nonprofit organization, but actually as building a community. Reason why we call it a community and we focus on that is because of, in community, I think it also carries the values of sustainability, that in fact, even when I pass away or after my lifetime, I do hope that Helen's Daughters can continue on from strength to strength decades later. And I think that is something that has been remiss in our region. Our development perspective has been very project-based, based on a start and end date, and there has been a lack of continuity within the region, especially when it relates to agricultural projects and the agricultural sector in general. And I think that honestly, not just in women's and youth groups, we need to do better. We need to focus on not just getting the funding, but also building the community. And that actually requires a mindset shift, a big mindset shift. And I think there are a number of persons within the region that are not only working on pushing agriculture to the forefront, but also on shifting that mindset. And as I said, we work at a grassroots level. We provide training in the form of the Rural Women's Academy, mentorship, micro-investment in some instances, access to high-value markets, and a structured care system for rural women who have been largely unacknowledged and under-supported. And what a structured care system means is that while the agricultural sector, there are main obstacles, we all know it, from the access to finance, which is an issue, and access to land, particularly with women and youth, and also access to long-term support in the form of the agricultural entities or agencies. But one of the things that we do actually forget is that being a farmer and agripreneur and so forth, or being within the agricultural sector, just like working in the private sector, there are other aspects that affect us. Just like a holistic human being, access to healthcare affects you. Access to a positive environment contributes to your operations and your efficiency. And that's where we mean a structured care system. With Helen's Daughters, we are working strength to strength to provide, for example, group healthcare for our women farmers. Crop insurance, of course, that's always going to be a thing. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. But we're looking at building our farmers holistically, not just but also outside of the agricultural sector as well. And finally, advocacy. I think that within the Caribbean agricultural sector, we're not loud enough. Not loud enough when it comes to our problems, but we need to be louder enough in our solutions as well. It's not that it's the agricultural sector is dead. It's far from dead. Yes, we have not gained all the solutions to fix, for example, our increasing food import bill within the region. However, there are so many innovations that we should be proud of. And aside from that, also, we do need to advocate for particularly the marginalized groups that lie within the sector and lie at the very base of the value chain, which tend to be women and youth. So in 2021, actually, in the midst of the pandemic, Helen's Daughters, along with another consulting firm, was contracted to do this research in terms of low and inequitable market participation of women and youth. And typically what you hear is that women and youth are not interested in the sector. They don't care about agriculture and so forth. And that was actually far from the truth. The fact is that there's lots of women and youth across our region that are very, very much interested in the sector. And actually that came up a lot during the pandemic when you saw droves of persons, especially those that were in the tourism sector, that actually had rural beginnings and actually decided to go into the agricultural sector, many of whom I've worked with. And actually to this day, I'm really proud to say that instead of going back to these traditional jobs and so forth, they stayed within the sector because they found more freedom and more economic stability. And that's something that many people don't realize. But what we did was part of the research, this is just a small glimpse, is that we conducted a root cause analysis on really why are women and youth, their market participation is so low. They're really at the base of the value chain. And we found several of the problems. So the root causes, for example, and I'm a living example of this, is limited inclusion of agriculture in school curriculum. I went to all girls Catholic schools from the age of 5 to 17. And not one of my programs, courses within those schools actually provided me with an agricultural education. Now, it might not be the same, but coming from a rural community where I saw it around me, I didn't learn it within schools. And interestingly enough, before maybe in the 60s and 70s in St. Lucia, most schools did include agricultural education from a very early age. Lack of access to training for women in the agricultural sector. I think that one of the reasons why our Rural Women's Academy is so popular is because of the fact that we meet our women where they are, which means that, one, we're very accessible. There's just recently a training that's going on. I won't mention in what, but a number of the trainings are on a Tuesday at 2 and 3 p.m. and they're to the south of the island, to the west, like you have to go all over. And what we notice is that women, young persons in particular, and in general, most persons, if you're managing a farm, or in a lot of cases now with a lot of Gen Zers and millennials that are coming into the agricultural sector, they have a full-time job and they're doing this for additional income. They don't have the time to actually go to a training in the middle of the week at 2 p.m. So what we've done is we've done after hours training. Primarily, we prep and do all our programming and work from Monday to Friday, and the real work for us is Saturdays and Sundays. And at Helen's Daughters, we've all recognized that we do have to meet our customers, our clients, our farmers where they are, which means that we run programs during the weeks from 6 to 8 p.m. during our training programs, and our practicals are held during the weekends as well. And that's something that is not often found. Traditional gender norms. Several times, again, we think that women, youth are not interested in agriculture, that they're lazy, or women don't want to get their nails dirty and so forth. And actually, we have gender norms that permeate our culture, our region, that we don't even notice. Case in point, one of our members, great agricultural plan, she was working, making profits, perfectly poised to get a bank loan. And rather than looking at her documents and so forth, the first question that the bank loans officer said to her was, why would a pretty girl like you go into agriculture? And these are the types of gender norms that we don't actually realize, and they're actually more rampant within the region than we think. And these are the types of stereotypes and norms that pull people away from the sector rather than encouraging them into the sector. The informal status of women farmers. In St. Lucia in particular, and this was one of the reasons why I started Helen's Daughters, was because of the fact that market vendors, for example, yes, a large part, not a large part, some of them don't grow their own products, they resell. And many of them actually do the growing and they also do the selling. And what we have to understand is that market vendors have a very, very important, play a very important part in the agricultural sector, because for the most part, they connect a lot of consumers to our farmers. And if you ask a market vendor, or a woman who has been in the sector for a number of years, if she has an actual certified farmer's card, many of them will tell you, no, they don't. So what did we do? When I realized that was a problem, I realized that psychologically, we didn't realize how many barriers not having a farmer's card actually, in a sense, remove them not only from the sector, but from getting support in general and being recognized. When you are a certified farmer, one, for example, in Massy supermarkets, you actually get more, I think it's 10 cents more per kilogram on your produce. Two, you are actually in the data bank of agricultural extension officers that by government law have to assist you and provide support to you. And three, you are limiting yourselves to a number of concessions, particularly when it comes to importing, for example, an agricultural a goods van to take you from place to place and your produce from place to place and so forth, or even in exporting. So these are the simple things that we look over. So what did we do? Our training program in St. Lucia, we lobbied the Ministry of Agriculture to use our training program as a substitute for the Good Agricultural Practices program. So in a sense, we are ensuring that when you take it, even though you may not have taken the Ministry of Agriculture's GAP program, you have that certification to then begin the process of actually being a certified farmer. And we have women who have been in the sector for 40, 50 years who just finally got their certified farmers cards. So that is a win for us. Land, I'll go really quickly because I know I don't have much time, but limited access to land for women and youth. In some countries like Jamaica, for example, it's 89% of women, men who have land versus 11% of women, and that's even less with youth. In St. Lucia, it's 30% women versus 70% land, men. And again, that goes to the traditional gender norms. In many instances in the surveys that we ran, we noticed that the parents, in a sense, expected that, the land would be in better hands if it was agricultural land, if it was male heirs rather than female heirs, because naturally women would not, manage a farm and so forth. Limited access to finance for women and youth. I can go on and on about this. I think we can have a whole panel on access to finance in the agricultural sector. But when we look at the overall lending portfolio for agriculture in the region, it's 4%. I have a better chance of getting a loan to get a vehicle rather than a loan to get agricultural land. So where are our priorities and how are we lobbying and pushing back against these financial agencies to really get their act together? And what we are really seeing in the region outside of traditional banks is also a surge in loan sharks. I will not mention certain financial agencies, but recently there are funds and certain loan sharking programs that are coming up that tell you, oh, just 1.5% per month. What is that annually? That's 18% annually. The highest rates for a business loan is about 10%, even less in traditional banks. So what are we really doing to encourage our women, our youth, our persons into agriculture if they can't even get the startup funding to get started? And then finally, we have issues like, for example, in women in particular, with taking on a larger share of unpaid labor. And what are the effects? The effects are obviously that women and youth will continue to be at the base of the value chain. That, of course, if you don't introduce youth to agriculture, one, within the curriculum, if you don't actually show them that there are actual successful case stories of agripreneurs, and you paint this collage that farmers are, poverty stricken and so forth, they will naturally not be interested in agriculture. So we need to do a better marketing of the sector and so forth. And then finally, with relating to traditional gender norms, higher incidences of gender-based violence in rural communities. So I will not, because of time, I will not go into some of the implications and so forth, which I've already mentioned. For example, the first thing would be assistance with inputs and key markets and markets to farmers, access to easy banking, and so forth. So what happened was, when we did this research in 2021, we realized that, look, you know what, we need to actually, our programs need to directly reflect the obstacles within the sector. So when we realized that there was limited inclusion of agricultural curriculum, while we're still lobbying to get that corrected, but what we've started is a scholarship fund for 2 women to study agriculture within the community college. So no longer do women, for example, have to go to a bank, as we've seen, not just for an agricultural loan, but in some instances to get agricultural education and, be deterred because of their gender. Even, for example, with the climate resilience issues, we started a water tank initiative, and many people were like, oh, what's the point of a water tank initiative and so forth? You're just giving water tanks to people. And they don't realize that in the agricultural sector, the lack of not having a water tank is not just, I can't wash my dishes or I can't take a shower. It's the lack of income for months, especially for perhaps a single parent household, and their main source of income is agriculture. The Agri-Apprenticeship program we did with Hotel Chocolat, and I'm actually going to use it as a case study for social entrepreneurship. In the eyes of a farmer, agritourism tour, again, something I'm going to talk about in opportunities in the agriculture business value chain. But again, in terms of agriculture, we usually think products and so forth, and we don't usually think services and even niche markets. Agritourism is one of those markets, and the Caribbean is prime for agritourism, actually. The farmers market. What we did was we realized that, one, in terms of creating safe spaces for our farmers and so forth, many women mentioned to us that, for example, I got into an altercation at the Castries market, or there was an altercation and I got hit. There's one of our farmers that actually this happened to, and she had to go to the hospital and so forth. So we created not only a safe space, but we, in a sense, revamped the traditional market. We made it something where it is a market, but something that's more modernized, where, one, our consumers actually know what they're getting ahead of time. Two, we really focus on niche and very different offerings from the traditional market, so as not to compete, but also to open a space for new and innovative products. And finally, again, about community building. It's not only community building within the sector, but it's also community building within our consumers. They come to this market not just for the products, but they actually want to support the farmers. They want to support the sector. I've mentioned, again, our training programs like our Rural Women's Academy and our Women's Farmers Academy. And finally, in terms of just sustainability and one of the major problems, long-term support, is that recently we just launched having our own, very own agriculture and outreach officer. So essentially providing privatized extension services to our women farmers. So what that means is, yes, they can get their services from the Ministry of Agriculture, absolutely, but they can also have an easy online booking tool where you can get someone that you relate to, someone that you know, and can give you the assistance that you need. So I see that I am going past time, so I'm just going to go really quickly into the last 2 slides I promised Nikelia. Our Agri-Apprenticeship program with Hotel Chocolat. when we think of new and emerging youth, and not just youth, but agricultural organizations, oftentimes these organizations have been very charity-based, very focused on receiving funding, and as I've mentioned before, project-based as well. Oftentimes, a lot of agricultural organizations, we focus on just doing one project at a time. Where is the sustainability when these projects, when they end, there's no continuity? So myself and Alpha, who are both Ashoka Fellows, are both very proud to be social entrepreneurs. And what that means is that while our enterprises like Y Farm and like Helen's Daughters, we've built entities that are not charity-based, but are based on not for profit, but on generating social impact. And in many ways, also generating income. And that is one of the ways, the case studies I bring to you with our program with Hotel Chocolat. So it's the first all-female agri-apprenticeship farm on island, and it also doubles as a training space for our members. So the hotel has given us about half an acre of land, which we've actually built out, and you'll see in one of our videos. We've built out a climate smart hybrid aquaponics farm on there. So one, we run agritourism tours on there. Two, the Hotel Chocolat is a direct buyer of produce grown on the property, and it's organic. And three, obviously, I mean, they match cost to build out the farms. And finally, as I said, trying to pull more youth into the agricultural sector, there's good programs. So what we've done is we've pulled women straight out of school. All our apprentices are between the ages of 18 to 23, two of which are scholarship holders. So we keep cementing that support within the sector. And just going on social entrepreneurship, it's that not everybody has to have this type of model. Helen's Daughters, this is one of the ventures that we have that is very social entrepreneurship focused. However, you could be working, whether it's in an agricultural entity, whether it's in an input shop, whether it's in education, and be an entrepreneur, which means that you can also create sort of like a social, not necessarily enterprise, but an initiative that has a social impact. For example, if you're working in a clean energy company, perhaps partnering with us at Helen's Daughters to build out a solar powered farm, for example. So there's entrepreneurs, there's social entrepreneurs, there's a myriad of ways where you can use values of social entrepreneurship as well to boost our social and environmental impacts in the Caribbean region. Oops. So just to go through, I mean, the opportunities, and just to close out the opportunities in the agriculture business value chain, there are a number of ways that you can really, one, support the ecosystem, but also source real opportunities. We've seen, for example, in inputs, Johannan Dujo with the algas product changing seaweed to actually a biostimulant. That is one way, and that can be a for-profit way. You've seen Alpha. Well, you will meet Alpha soon, who has created agricultural comic books that he can sell to educational institutions and so forth. With us at Helen's Daughters, while largely we are non-profit, but we do venture quite a bit into agritourism with our apprenticeship program. And also you will see a video of our agritourism tours. So what we do is we have a network where we support women into getting them into the agritourism tours, and a percentage of their earnings goes back into a fund that supports another woman who wants to go into agritourism. And another thing that we do, aside from providing startup funding, whether it's to do footpaths, to provide bathrooms, a water tank on the farm, to basically meet the standards of our local tour operators and so forth. We also provide overall tour insurance. So that's tens of thousands of dollars that our farmers are saving to be able to get into a totally new sector. And of course, there are the products, there are services that you can get into. While with us, we don't charge for our agricultural courses and so forth. But for example, focusing on agricultural business plans, maybe doing it at a subsidized rates, and in a sense, maybe getting grant funding to support other women, youth, and other persons within the sector is another way. So I just wanted to end with two videos, very short videos, I promise. One is really focused on building a community. Especially those persons that, those entities that think that you just need a project. You don't just need a project. you actually need more than a project. You need a community behind you. You need to change the mindset. You need, as Caribbean persons, we need to work more as a collective rather than individuals. So one of the things that we do starting every year is a co-creation retreat, where we actually co-create with our membership the program of work for the entire year. So that's just a view of the co-creation retreat. And then finally, we'll just give you a snippet into the agritourism tours.
It's a wrap of the women's retreat, the Helen's Daughters Farmers Retreat for today. And I got here late, but what a remarkable, remarkable day in such beautiful ambience, in such amazing presence of some wonderful women. What Helen's Daughters is doing, like I always say, you can't put this in the form of, you can't put a price tag on this. This is remarkable stuff. And just being here today is evident of the beautiful community that's been created. I don't say that's farmers. That's not farmers. That's not a group of farmers. You get me? There's a community that is built here. And when you get to spend time in retreats and seminars and occasions like that with these ladies, where you get to feel their energy in different forms, to hear their ideas, you know, you can get to relate and relate to them. This is a beautiful platform. I am so honored to, in whatever way that I am involved. I am so honored to be involved with this movement. This community is amazing, and I cannot wait for the day when this becomes the community that is going to be widespread throughout the entire Caribbean. And Helen's Daughter, when you hear that name, it's just going to be home. You're going to get that feeling, you know, that feeling of purpose. That is what I can't wait for the rest of the world, the rest of the Caribbean, to grasp on to this movement right here. This made my day. This is my entire day made.
Considering my time is up, I will have Nikelia share the agritourism video to you as well. And for those in St. Lucia, we are opening up again very shortly this particular tour. But thank you once again for the time. And yeah, if you need to contact me, I will also put in my contact information and so forth within the chat.
Thank you very much, Kiflin, for sharing with us what you have been doing with Helen's Daughters and the involvement of the women. We would have heard a lot of challenges that exist, but more so, Kiflin would have spoken of a lot of the opportunities and a lot of the actions that have actually been done through Helen's Daughters. I will leave any other comments and any other question for the discussion section for the participants. And I will ask now Alpha of YFAM to share his screen and present to us what he has been doing with youth and children across the region. Ready for us, Alpha?
Yeah, so we're getting up. It's confirming that you all are seeing my screen.
Yes, all good.
All right, great. All right, so pleasant good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for being here this morning. I share the same sentiments as my colleague. You know, but so it's so good to see so many people here this morning interested in such topics. And you know, wanting to learn and I guess also share as when we get into the question and sharing segment rather, you know. So I am Alpha Senon from Trinidad and Tobago, founder and executive director of YFAM, which stands for We Help Youth Farm. And today I will be going through sort of picture of our organization, you know, but bringing it into perspective into the topic in terms of how we engage children, why we engage children, how we do it, you know, what's next for us, and then also how we look at sustainability in running our organization as well too. And you know, you'll get a better understanding of our social entrepreneurial model, you know, which is absolutely important to survive in doing such work as the work of YFAM and Helen's daughter, right? So this is me, on the farm, and this is my well, I find it's a cute picture. Some of you could disagree. That is your business, right? But this is my dream for how men, women, a nice smile. This is me in my dashing bush patch, which is muddy, which is sappy, but I love it. I love being there on mornings, harvesting my dashing leaves, cleaning the patch, connecting with nature, connecting with the soil. Sometimes I lost several pair of boots down in the soil there as well too. But sometimes it gets so soggy that your foot stick, And I think that is this nature. That is the work that we go through to feed our people, and it's important. It's important for me. It's important for me to always share this because I have built an organization with a lot of support from community. Keatlin spoke a lot about community, and YFAM is a community as well. But it's important that we understand, how things are built and why it's built so that you could put it into your perspective as you develop the work that you want to develop or the work that you're already doing and you further it, right? So, our big question, our big challenge then, and this is me making you all understand the rationale behind the work that we do. Presently we are in the year 2023, the present age of farmers after 55 years and increasing, and by the year 2050, those farmers will be deceased. Our 30-year-old farmers today, by the year 2050, they will be retired. And our young people, they will be the professionals by the year 2050. But the question remains, who will feed our 9 billion people by the year 2050, right? So of course, if you look at 10-year-olds today, what are they thinking about? There's a study, a decline in youth engagement in agriculture. Of course, while there's a decline, we still, from previous years, we still see that it is on the rise, but we still see that young people, while they are being sensitized, but we still have, wanting to become doctors, lawyers, engineers, police, you name it. So at YFAM, we say that we have to make agriculture to really show that increase in youth participation in agriculture, and let's get agriculture on their mind, because have you all asked yourself, what does make a child at the age of 8, 9, Mommy, I want to be a doctor. Daddy, I want to be a pilot. It's because that is what was fed to them growing up, from a child, toddler stage, looking at movie shows, at cartoons, Disney Channel. That is what was fed to them. So they automatically now could say that, well, they want to be a doctor. I want to be a policeman because that is what was fed to them. So all we have to do is just reverse it. We just have to literally feed agriculture to them, feed farmers to them, feed farmers to them, feed agripreneurship to them, right? So at YFAM, we created agricultural educational entertainment using comics and coloring books and poetry and stories and videos to be able to create that engagement. I always say that the problem is creating youth engagement. The solution is creatively engaging youth. We flip the script and we have the solution. It ain't rocket science really and truly, However, I remember growing up, looking at the story of Captain Planet. And I don't know what's the age of our people who's joining here right now. Some of you all may or may not remember this movie, this cartoon series on Saturday morning. Well, for the Trinis, that was our favorite on TV, and it went like this: Captain Planet, he's a hero. He's gonna bring pollution down to 0. This came out of TV almost when I was probably like 8 years old. That is plenty years ago, right? And I could still remember that song. Looking at Captain Planet, I would, like pick up the paper and not waste the water. It literally does something. So we realized that there must be an adventure to encourage youth in agriculture, starting with our main character who's branded as the world's most powerful food provider. So we created Agri-Man. And Agri-Man would say this: boys and girls, I'm the Agri-Man. To feed the world is my master plan. If you plant one tree, you could eat for free. This will guarantee food security. From field to farm, let's let it sprout. Soon we'll see an end to drought. Once we all grow what we need, soon the whole world we can feed. Man, agree, man, agree, man. Right, that's some rain in Trinidad, but I hope I ain't trying to bring back the rain it was singing. But I hear the people and them clapping, and I hear the chants, and I hear the roars right now. Right. So growing future feeders organically, mixing farming with technology, you know. So these are argument. We say argument is the world's first and only food and nutrition security superhero, who's not only growing our future feeders, but growing our future nourishers. Because I mean, for those of you all as well, must understand the difference with feeding somebody and the difference with nourishing. You know, we must be able to grow food that not only fills you, but fulfills you. And that is a big difference. So when we talk about food security, you know, if we leave out nutrition in the whole equation, then I don't know what we're talking about, right? So agreement will say plant one tree.
The agreement to feed the world is my master plan. If you plant
zero wastage, be responsible. Don't waste one grain of rice. You know, eat healthy. You know, so every time we go to our school and we say plant one tree, you will eat for free. That will guarantee food security. You know, and all these rhymes and these words is all part of the creative engagement to young people, the agri-edutainment, you know, and the spoken word. Why farm, you say, if you could, you should. Why farm today? If you don't, who would? Why farm, don't play, the earth need food. Why farm, I say, serve a greater good. You know, and all these things has built that platform to allow us to be able to really engage the young people, you know, using all our superheroes. You know, we created the female superhero. You know, when we started, people were like, where's Agri Woman? Where's Agri Girl? You know, so of course, we went to a camp, you know, and some 9 and 10-year-olds created the name Photosynthesister, you know, and this is the level of creativity that these young people come up with once you give them the, you know, once you give them the space to do it, right? So, you know, we go to schools, we teach, we create the comic books. You know, I said we created Photosynthesister, you know, who is, well, we haven't like literally launched her in terms of a physical mascot, but we have Agreement, the mascot, you know, so anybody in the audience who think they have what it takes to be Photosynthesister, you know, we might be coming to your island soon, you know, and do an audition with you, right? So we have Agreement Fan Club, you know, this is our, how we keep the kids engaged, you know. There must be an adventure to encourage youth in agriculture, right? Agreement was launched at World Food Day 2015, right? We do a lot of workshops as well with young professionals, you know, who would want to better understand food security, food and nutrition security, understand agribusiness, understand value chain, you know, but why? You know, why? You know, so we always say that before teaching young people how to farm, we must teach them why to farm. And I have to say my favorite tag: give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. But where they stopped and they didn't tell us, when you teach that man why to fish, you feed him and his generation for a lifetime. You know, because he will pass on that why. He will pass on that why to his younger ones and to his community. And this is why we're doing this. You know, so always begin with why. That why connects you to that passion, to that purpose, and to the planet. Yeah, of course, you know, we must be talking about agriculture. We must talk about swag and agriculture to make it swagriculture. Me farming in my Nike sneakers here, showing my pepper plant, you know. Something I want to quickly mention here too is that your youth opens up the horizon through Imagivision. You must have an imagination and tie it to a vision, you know, creating the opportunity. Yeah, you must create the opportunity. Don't wait for somebody to come knocking on your door. Build your own damn door and break it down. Entrepreneurship. You cannot be innovative and they say, well, hey, I created this cell phone, I innovative, you know? No, you must be entrepreneurial about the innovation as well, because that's where you'll make dollars and cents. So let's drop in some quick nuggets there. Agriman, first day of his creation. Again, as the young people who's here in the audience, start where you can. This costume here costed, I think, $250, literally. You know, a spandex costume, you know. Later down, about 4 years later, this costume here costed maybe about 3,000 US, you know, and the redesign and everything. So again, start with where you can, right? And, well, sorry, I don't have the latest costume. I was supposed to have it, but the latest costume that we did literally cost us over 5,000 US dollars. It was created in LA. You know, we had Marshall Montana Foundation that sponsored it and whatnot. And of course, they get partners along the way because people get, you know, when you're passionate about what you do, you get people to believe in you. One of the programs that we have as well is the Agripreneur Mastermind program. It's called Amp It Up, where we have it's like a 10-week challenge with young people. We find in TNT's Next Up Agripreneur, or whichever island we take it to. Eventually, we want to do a Caribbean Next Stop Agripreneur, where we'll partner with many organizations to be able to deliver this, cash prizes and whatnot. It's a whole challenge and, you know, real exciting for teaching, not just planting or how to rear animal, but all the business stuff that you need to survive in the industry. You know, your business canvas, your strategic business plan, pitching, networking, you know, how do you know your financials and all these different things. We engage in activities like that, and it's a very exciting program. I'll talk a little bit about the value chain now, you know, and then this is where our sustainability in our organization comes in, because we must be able to, as Keithlin said, you have to be able to, while being an NGO or a non-profit, but you have to act as a business, because you can't go forever and ever begging, you know, for a grant, begging for a donation, you know. And so this is where now we branded out, you know, I have, you know, play on words. So we say from the crop to the shop, from my dashing bush patch, you know, to the shop where we created the Agriman Callaloo pack, right? You know, it's an amazing product. Like, it's the best Callaloo pack on the market, right? And of course, most recently, like literally about 2 days ago, we introduced the Agriman Karaili pack. For those of you who probably put in the chat what it is called Karaili on your island, if it's bitter melon, or, and let me see who love Karaili as well too. So of course, we cut it up, food for convenience, put some pimento pepper, aka flavor pepper, put some garlic in there as well too. And you know, this is absolutely a hit. Growing up, hate is a strong word, but I hated Karaili, you know, and I must say Karaili is one of my favorite vegetables right now. You know, my father would almost always force you to kind of consume it. And of course, so we sell these things at some of the largest supermarket chains, and the young people go there and be like, Mommy, Daddy, look, Agriman, you know, I want that Agriman pack. You know, this now gets children, because watch what he said. You know, he said happy, he felt happy. I felt happy to see Agriman at the store because I love Agriman. This is Sella saying this. He is probably 7 years. Vegetables make me healthy and strong, and they give me muscles, and he starts to flex till he starts to sweat. And this is how Agriman is inspiring this generation. So you all really thought we would wait till university to teach children about food security? Sorry, the young people. No, we can't wait till they get a PhD to understand climate change adaptability. No, we have to be able to, the transformative years of conditioning one's mind is between birth and 12. You can't wait till they reach whenever to start to say, hey, become a farmer. And we need the Caribbean is in crisis with food security. And that's what we have been doing. You know, you wait till, you know, when everybody want to become what they want to become. No, we have to inspire young people like Sella, you know, to be able to create, to be now like Agriman, you know, to be like photosynthesis. Yeah. So from the bean to the bar, me harvesting my cocoa, and then we created the Daisy Darling chocolate. Very quick about Daisy Darling. In Siparia, the parang queen of the world, Daisy Voze. So we asked our community to come up with a name for our chocolate bar, naming after an icon. Because, you know, when we talking food and agriculture, we talking preserving legacy, preserving heritage, preserving history. So how can we get our young people to connect with the heritage of Siparia? By the way, I invite all of you to come to Siparia. It's literally the best place in Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah. So anyhow, Daisy Darling Chocolate Bar is what we created out of Siparia, right? From the plant to the pack. So far, from the crop to the shop, from the bean to the bar, from the plant to the pack, pimento pepper, we saved during the pandemic, problems to get pimento abroad. We decided to grind this pimento, dehydrate it, and turn it into a pimento powder, candy spices, pimento powder. All these are things that comes out of our Agripreneur Incubator Design Lab, which is our aid lab in Siparia at our Y Farm headquarters. Again, models and systemic, strategic approaches to be able to sustain the work of our organization, to keep it going. From the seed to the snack, oh my gosh, it has stopped yet. This is okra. This is not our product. I just saw this traveling sometime. I was like, wait, we have to do our okra product, So other foods, right, they created this, but of course, these are just examples as well. So even, there's no new idea under the sun, people. There's no new idea under the sun. So these are things that you all can do as well, and of course, online marketing opportunities. Our friend and partner companies, Market Movers, they are to me like they are the first in the Caribbean, as far as I know, to start with online marketing in terms of selling produce online. You order and you get it delivered to your doorstep. So we created Dash in Your Doorstep. This was during the pandemic for our community, where people could order stuff online. You connect with the farmers market, etc. With your farm, you package your produce and you get it to them. Big opportunities and big business in doing so. Yeah. Agriman Adventures. Let me tell you all a little bit about our comics. So we have a lot of comics. I can't talk about all of them today, but this is one, the Grandpa's Magic Seed, the beginning. We introduced AgriBots, talking about digital agriculture education, very amazing content, real good graphics. We introduced photosynthesis study, outbreak. Everybody was getting sick on the farm, and she came as the one to heal them, but not medicine being our food, but food being our medicine, And instead of running to the PH pharmacy, you could run to the FARMACY pharmacy, yeah? So, of course, we partnered with our amazing partners at ICA to develop and introduce the secrets of the soil. We had Professor Ratan Lal starring in this, that talks about climate change and, the importance of our soil. And we saw the video earlier on as well, too, where my colleague, starred in that and talking about the video on the I Am Soil. So it's very important, of course. What we did is that we created an activity book. So we call it these Secrets of the Soil activities, and this is literally now published, so look out for a copy coming somewhere near you as well too, via the ICA offices across the region. It will get to different Caribbean islands. Those of you all in Trinidad, you can contact us as well. So I'm saying that these are all engagement strategies to be able to connect with our young people, We can't, like the odds are against us, because the movies coming out of Hollywood and Bollywood and wherever would, it's promoting agriculture and food security, and that's what we children watching, So we know how to keep pushing it. Arts is the highest form of communication, and music is the highest form of art. I know that from a long time, and we use those strategies via the arts, the spoken word, the poetry, the coloring, the graphics, that communicates with young people. That's why Stella went in the Marcy stores and see the Agriman Kalu pack with Agriman on it, Karaili pack, and tell Mommy, I want this, I eaten this today. Yeah? And he will then want to grow this, because Agriman say to grow it. Because when you plant what you eat, when you grow what you eat and you eat what you grow, what goes into your body, you would know. Yeah? So food value chain, this here is literally self-explanatory. As young people, as young professionals, find your place in the agricultural value chain. Whether it may be the input, the farm, the processing, the distribution, the retail, the consumer. Maybe it might be all, but here what you have to start somewhere. Because when we first started, we started with the education. After Y-Farm was launched in 2015, so after 8 years of Y-Farm, we could say that we have multiple products. It didn't happen overnight. As the song says, success don't happen overnight, right? So we have to be able to work it, but you start somewhere and then you get to your goal. But I want to just echo something that my friend Keatlin said as well too. Y-Farm is bigger than me. Create something that is bigger than yourself. And many issues, but of course, there's many solutions that ought to be even tapped into, you know, because as long as there are problems, then there are solutions. Yeah, as long as there's a problem, then there are solutions. So the opportunities exist. I often tell people about the $4 billion US import bill, you know, then while that is a major problem, a major concern, a major challenge, but at the same time, on the flip of that, there's a $4 billion opportunity as well too, that is waiting to be tapped on. Yes, there's many things, there's many policy things that could be fixed and whatnot, but we as people, you know, people being the greatest human resource, you know, we have the ability to also change and fix that and address it in our own little way that could eventually be a big way. You know, so I think this was almost the end of my presentation. Yes, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I almost made it through before that little interruption. Nevertheless, I really appreciate sharing with you all today. And you all are very, very important for this conversation. And I look forward to any questions, any thoughts that you all have. And I'll just pass back the mic to my colleague and friend, Nikilia.
Thank you very much, Alpha. And again, sincere apologies, everyone, for this interruption with the hacking there. And so thank you, Alpha, for this exciting presentation. And also thank you, Kathleen. We will have seen a lot of interactive products there. We have the comic books, we have the activity books, and we do have other products in the making with Y-Farm. We have some animations and some motion comic books, you call them, Alpha? Motion comics coming out soon. And so thank you, Alpha. Thank you, Kathleen. And so now is your opportunity, you the participants, to engage, to even share your experiences, if for those of you who are part of, you know, various agriculture organizations, maybe even not an agriculture organization, but, you know, some of your experiences there. And so I bow to question and discussion session. So you can go ahead, anybody with any questions, go ahead. Yes, Kelly.
Thanks, and thanks for the presentation, Alpha and Keithlin, really excellent. I wanted to ask you if there's been any kind of unintended impact or benefit from the work you've been doing that you didn't necessarily expect would happen, but that also has contributed positively to enhance resilience and awareness and improve livelihoods.
Is it for me or Kathleen or both of us?
Both of you.
All right. Kathleen, you want to go ahead or should I just? Yeah, okay. Well, I'll take it and then here. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Kelly, for that question. I think yeah, like from a perspective of like reaching young people, initially then at Y-Farm, you know, for us, we just inspiring people, you know, that's inspiring, but not really sure about how do we then take it to the next level, you know. So this is where all our training started coming into play and whatnot. And interesting enough, you know, from inspiring people to really take action and helping them take action, you know, we have gotten results from young people who literally almost grew up with us. You know, I remember this one guy that started working, that he was a child back then when we first introduced Agriman. And then maybe like about, you know, like literally about 7 years later, he's telling me that he's graduating with his, in agriculture, and he's going to CCRAF, you know, the Eastern Caribbean Institute for Forestry Agriculture campus. And is literally an inspiration from Agriman that really molded him into wanting to, you know, become, well, he wants to become an educator in agriculture as well, you know? So I think like for us, almost like that impact was, you know, we didn't foresee that it would happen so fast, you know? because it's definitely for our work, then it's definitely like, you know, since we work with children, how do we then measure the impact? Because, you know, we have to wait for these kids to grow up, you know, to see, like, you know, are they becoming farmers? Are they studying agriculture? What are they going to do? But like, we had the results of that happen a few years later, and it just shows that success story right there.
Thanks, Alpha. Kitharine, you want to give any feedback on your side?
Nikki, I think Kiflin is.
Kiflin is not with us.
She's trying to reconnect.
Hold on 1 second.
I sent her a message.
I'm not seeing her.
There's a couple of questions in the chat.
Yes.
Right.
I think one of the first one was asking if Agriman has a villain to combat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's several villains, you know. Our most recent villain is Climate Mutate. You know, of course, from the word Climate Mutate, you can hear climate and realize that, you know, climate is just trying to destroy the climate, and it's just trying to affect the weather patterns and affect food, you know, and affect the health of food as well too. Then there's plastic imposter. We all know that plastic imposter always trying to create plastic noodles and plastic cabbage and plastic rice. So Agriman and his team has to defeat plastic imposter. You know, so yeah, several villains in the comics that makes it very exciting. I see someone asking if there's any agritourism tours to YFAM. Nikita, can I answer your permission?
Please go ahead, Alpha.
Yeah?
Sorry, Alpha. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so to Miss Denise, yes. So we do have agritourism tours to YFAM facility in Siparia. You are invited to book an appointment and come on down to Siparia, and then we have a whole tourism thing happening in Siparia. Interesting enough, I didn't mention this in our presentation. I'll take the opportunity right now. Last year, YFAM won a Best Village Tourism Award from the CTO, the Caribbean Tourism Organization in the region, for the work that we do within the community of Siparia and how we connect it to other stakeholders to create a nice package when you visit Siparia. So check out our Visit Siparia page on Instagram and on YFAM as well too. Thanks a lot.
Okay, great. We also have Kiflin and Alpha. Hopefully we get Kiflin back soon. What has been your experiences with fundraising?
Right. So for us, it has been challenging. You know, to date, let's give the big picture, but then I'll come back down to the smaller pictures. But to date, we still, still fundraising to have an operational budget, you know, which is really to operate YFAM how we want it to operate and function, you know, across an annual operating budget. So that is still a struggle. But however, we have had great successes with great partners such as AICA, you know, who would fund us to do, you know, whatever that may be projects or products or programs, you know, such as some of these comics and the cartoons we're doing now and the motion comics, etc. You know, and then we have had, you know, grants funding from different organizations that we would do different programs. Then we apply for a lot of competitions where some of them we are successful at it. You know, some of them would have cash prize awards, you know, even as well from a entrepreneurial side of things, or social entrepreneurial side of things. As Keatlin mentioned as well, Keatlin and I are both Ashoka fellows. So, you know, so sometimes some of these fellowships will also, you know, like give you a stipend to be able to operate your organization, you know, as the founder of the organization. So all this is important in your fundraising strategy, because, you know, you as the founder, you there full time, you have bills to pay, but, you know, and the work have to continue. So, you know, so you look for grants, for connect to foundations, you look for competitions, you know, partners and institutions like AICA. You do a proposal to them saying, hey, I want to introduce this topic in this kind of way and get them to buy into it, you know. And of course, well, you obviously sell, as I mentioned, for us, we sell the comic books, we have them in bookstores. When our partners like Aika, who would pay for it as well, they would have them to give away. We have the Kalalu parks, we have the products of the farm as well. We are contracted by the Massey stores where we put our produce there on the shelves. And we do also like trainings as well to consultancies. So it's almost as though, you have to find as much things to create that revenue to be able to sustain your organization. It is a struggle, but, we continue to press on. And I must say, things are way better 8 years. Things are way better 8 years later from when we obviously just started. So once you keep pushing, your organization bound to survive with good strategy, of course.
Thanks, Alpha. Kelly, you had another question?
No, sorry.
Okay, thanks. Alistair, go ahead.
Hi, good morning, colleagues. Alpha, Caitlin, great effort. Regrettably, I joined a bit late, but a question I have for Caitlin and Alpha. I applaud the efforts of this forum, Nikilia, Chani, Kelly, for this initiative. I'm just wondering, Alpha and Caitlin, are there ongoing efforts by entities such as yourself to have a regional network or collaboration across different countries so that these efforts like by Alpha and Y Farm and by Helen's Daughters, that it becomes something that other countries are seeking to address as well? As I said, I joined late. I don't know if that's something you all would have identified, but networking across the countries. Thanks.
So
and if there are opportunities for that, and if there are opportunities, if they do exist.
We do not have Kiflin back with us as yet. Hopefully she would come back. So Alpha, go ahead.
All right, sure. Yeah, thanks, Alistair, for that. Well, I would say yes, I would say yes. We have had things in our pipeline, in our mind, like Caitlin and I continuously talking about how do we get agreement to St. Lucia, even prior to organizing this meeting. We were saying, we should plan something like that, get agreement to St. Lucia, but my idea with it then is obviously agreement in Trinidad can't run to St. Lucia, Barbados, Jamaica every day. So of course, what we have to do is create an agreement there, create a photosynthesis there, implement the model over there, that is almost like it's just replicated. So I would say there are efforts, but of course, we have to focus in on these efforts, find the partners who will be able to fund something like this to start it up, because there's us just trying to say, well, let's do a agreement here, agreement there. And it wouldn't continue without the right resources, and the right training and the right tools to be able to nurture it. But absolutely, I am with you 100% there, Alistair, that there should be, and we should make this happen. As Caitlin just said, let's not reinvent the wheel, let's make it spin. And sometimes too much times across the region, we want to recreate something, just because, you want to reinvent something, then why? It's already there, it's working, let's partner, let's collaborate to really create the change what we need.
Okay, thanks, Alpha. In the meantime, while we are going through the questions and the discussion session, I will be sending a feedback poll on your screen, and if you could just take a minute or so to answer them. And Alpha, in the meantime, the next question is, did persons of funding agencies jump on your ideas at the start? What was your experience when you pitch your ideas to some agencies for funding?
Yeah, like it have had mixed experiences over the years, where some folks would say, for example, like our primary targets, which is children initially, that don't fit within their spectrum. Then that age group is not within their targets, so then you'll get almost call it a shutdown, and of course you want to convince them that, hey, it should be, because we have to educate the children, and we have to start there, but and then of course other agencies and other folks who may not have had any strict targets, they would definitely engage with us, some of them. And again, not everything, not every collaboration is funding actual money. Some collaboration, some partnerships, they bring other resources to the table. So as an entrepreneur, as well as I get mature in the entrepreneurship, because how much years ago I wasn't saying that, yeah, give me no money, then I vex with you. You know, no. As you mature in your entrepreneurship, partners could bring experts to the table. They could bring technical resources to the table. They could bring a connection. Simply writing one email and saying, hey, I want you to meet Alpha Senon. He is blah, blah, blah. That person may not have give you money, but they give you access to money. They give you access to open a door that you cannot open by yourself, just like that now. So again, your networks and whatnot is so important. And I look for the resources coming out of something. Everything I go to, whether I maybe a travel and you go, you talk or you connect with a partner meeting, you must come out with something out of it, even if that something is never to go back there again. You know, that's joking. But even if that something is, well, you learn some lesson. Because sometimes somebody might say, great presentation, but, and listen to that but. You know, what is that? What is that but? What it is they wanted to see? Are you lacking on your financials? Are you lacking on your accountability? Are you lacking on your structure? What does that look like? You know, and these are things that you learn over the years in really developing a grassroots organization, because the struggle is real. You know, not very few grassroots organizations in the region. I don't know of any that was gotten a $3 million US grant to start. You don't ever hear that. And I'm being honest, in this part of the world, you don't hear that. You know, so you start with $200. You know, you start with $20 and you just build it from there now. But absolutely, they have had the yes, they have had the no's, they have had the maybes. You know, even in applying for Ashoka fellowship, I saw Deja asking what fellowship pays a stipend. Ashoka Fellows pays a stipend, so you all could check out Ashoka, all the social entrepreneurs in the chat, and you know, connect to Ashoka Fellowship, and I could definitely give you recommendations as well too. Right, so I'm saying, let's still wrap up on this question. My first time in applying for the Ashoka Fellowship, I didn't get a no, I get a NY, and not yet. A year later, I reapplied and re-engaged. By that time, I did the Ampeta program, I did a school tour, I did this, I did that. So I had numbers to be able to show on our impact. And that time later on, I got the yes. You know, so sometimes that no is sometimes it's not a no. It could be a not yet, or it could be next option as well too. But don't get saddened by somebody telling you no or not right now. Yeah.
Okay, I see Roxanne has her hand up. Roxanne, go ahead.
Hi there. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Alpha, for your hard work, your excitement, your enthusiasm. I'm actually very curious about your superior agritourism model. I know you said it is community-based, and I was wondering about the level of youth involvement in that agritourism tour. What is the level of youth involvement in the agritourism experience? And then how do you get them engaged? How do you get them to become tour guides or to become engaged in any element, whether it's the food and beverage or whatever element of the agritourism experience in Superior?
Yeah, sure. Amazing question, Ms. Roxanne. You know, one of the things that is unique about Superior and our experience is a major central point is the Deltones Institute. That is Superior Deltones Steel Orchestra, right? So I am a pan man. For those of you across the region, you must know steel pan. So my performing background and whatnot comes out of the pan yard and being able to perform in front of the band for panorama and whatnot. So at the pan yard, there's like over 100 and something young people. So what we do is that we train these young people one by one. We find the different qualities in them, whether some of them like art, some of them like the talking, some of them like presentation, some of them like there's interaction with people. We train them to be able to interact with our guests when they come to Superior and become the tour guides and whatnot. But we get them starring in videos as well too. You know, because you have to give the young people what the young people want and what they like. You know, being part of videos in promoting Superior and using the food and the pan as central things. So it's a unique blend, and we position such in our awesome way. You know, imagine, you know, we created a company as well called Railway Pizza. because at the Superior Deltones Panyard, and as the heritage that lies within there as well, you know, is the last, what was the last train, so where the train would turn around and go back to Port of Spain. And so we preserve the building and everything at the Panyard. And so we create, and it's on Railway Road Superior. So we created a company called Railway Pizza. But guess what? Of course, all the ingredients of the pizza comes from Y Farm. And of course, the pizza is done in barrels, in drums. So it's a smoked pizza, you know, that is really, really good. But anyhow, so we use all those experiences. We get the young people working in the pizza business, in the pallet company business. We also create pallets, furniture and whatnot, using discarded pallets like crates, yeah? And then, of course, them working at Y Farm as well, too. So but they live it. So it's almost, it's not a uncomfortable experience for them. So when persons come to visit, they are living this every day. I mean, of course, we train them in the pitch and what the, you know, how they tell the story and whatnot, but they live it every day. You know, Marshall Montano from Superior, he visits the Panyard regularly and give talks and inspire the young people and whatnot. But it's really amazing that it's just organic with the young people to be able to connect to that whole tourism experience. But last but not least, is also showing them how great of a community their community is too, and finding the greatness within themselves to be able to showcase who they are and what their community offer. Yeah.
Excellent. We have Simeon. Simeon, you could go ahead with your question.
Yes, good morning. Good morning all. I'm kind of blown away because I'm from a community as well in St. Vincent. I grew up in what we call the breadbasket of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in Mesopotamia, in Mariacoa Valley. And we have similar heritage as Superior in Trinidad. And I have seen where this community spirit has gone out of most of our communities, and we have communities throughout the Caribbean. We have had our ancestors growing, leaving legacies, and we just take them and throw them away, right? So I really welcome this presentation. But I had my hand up earlier when the young man was speaking about children don't want to go into something that their parents are doing, or maybe they want to be a doctor, lawyer, whatever. And I always say that our children would not want to do what we did as a profession, because every evening we go home, we throw down our things and we say, boy, that was a hard day. The job is difficult, and we complain. So no child would want to gravitate towards that, right? So what I try to do with my children, I tell them how the experience is. I try to explain to them that, you know, every job has its challenges, and I also show them how much money can be derived from what I do. And by the way, I've been in the food industry for over 40 years, and presently I'm retired, and I'm also doing a small business. And ironically, on Friday, we have Vinciclus, which is a cluster of agri-processors, agribusiness people. We are having a panel discussion on which I am going to be one of the presenters. And this is really music to my ears when I hear brothers and sisters from the Caribbean testifying how agribusiness has grown in other parts of the world and in other parts of the Caribbean, and how we can make a success of it. And I don't see any rocket science. Like the brothers say, you don't have to wait until the children have a PhD to teach them something in agriculture. Recently, we had what do you call it? You can normally have this accountability seminar. I think it was yesterday or Monday. ICA had a accountability seminar, and it was amazing to hear how the farmers benefited and so on. So people need to know that if you want something, You have to not being forced to do it, but you have to get up. You can't want something and just ask somebody to reach it for you. You have to get up and reach it for yourself. And you have to face the challenges. When you face the challenges and you beat the challenges, those are the times that you cherish what you have. I mean, I've been in this thing for so long, and I try to share with persons. And my brother, I wish that one of these days when I come back to Trinidad, I want to visit Siparia and I want to meet you. I wish I can come and see what, live. I can feel that experience, because it really took me back to my roots in Morocco Valley, where we in the community as children. I was 10 years old when we built a community center, self-help, in the Morocco Valley. I remember running home from school to grab the wheelbarrow, and I didn't get the wheelbarrow most of the time. I had to use buckets and paint pan to carry the stones down to the site where they were building the community center. And we all built a community center for the Morocco Valley. And this is something that, we are missing. A lot of us are missing this community spirit. Long ago, if somebody building a house, you hear the whole community gone to build the house, help them build the house, and they cook a pot, and everybody eat and drink and so on, and the house done. You understand? And these are the kind of things that we are missing out on. Community spirit is what make a lot of us as Caribbean people think. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simeon, and definitely agree there. As part of the forum, build a community of interested persons. And so this is one of the things we are aiming for. We do have Kiflin back on. And so Kelly and Alista, I'm not sure if you want to repeat your question so she can give her views from her engagement in Helen's Daughters.
Sure. Hi, Keithlin. Thanks so much for this and for all your hard work. It's really inspiring. And something I wanted to know was if there's been any positive unintended impacts or outcomes from your work. I know you have certain goals, but if there's been anything that happened along the way as like a co-benefit that surprised you.
Thanks so much, Kelly, for that question. It's actually a really good question. Core benefit that has surprised me is, I think, one thing, the upsurge in male allyship. So you'll see lots of men donning like the Helen's Daughters hats and shirts. And I mean, even in like with our farmers markets and so forth, what you see is like sons really, like the guys, they're the ones helping put up the tents. In one case, there's a son selling on behalf of his mom who's like partially handicapped and so forth. So I actually felt that you, rather than at first when we came out, it was like, oh, what is this? It's all about women, blah, blah, blah. But actually a lot of persons came out realizing and recognizing like, hey, I was from a single parent household, I had a single mother, blah, 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 and actually stepping up to the challenge. And that male allyship, I think, really has shown through. I think that's the first one. And then I think the second one is the unintended benefits, the mindset shift. I think that in the agricultural sector for so long, that the way that a lot of, whether it's funding, whether it's groups and so forth, there's been a lot of small power struggles and a lot of pitting organizations against one another. And within Helen's Daughters, what I've started seeing is more of a collective mindset. So persons willing to develop businesses together, persons, even in the activities and so forth, really like sharing resources, knowledge, and so forth with one another, instead of just solely relying on the organization. And these are two of the biggest unintended consequences. Well, good benefits, I would say.
Lovely. Glad to see that the men are also getting involved and persons don't just feel it's all about the women. And really happy to see that there. Alista, I know you had a question as well. If you want to repeat your question for Caitlin.
Sure, thanks, Nakilia. Welcome back, Caitlin. Sorry I missed most of your presentation. I was asking Alpha and, well, hopefully yourself, if there's an opportunity or whether it already exists for networking among the various players like yourself across the region so that we can have further advancement of initiatives like this or building up on what you all have done. So collaboration across St. Lucia, Barbados, Trinidad, Jamaica, etc., where we can have more of these sort of developmental initiatives. I think that's what I'd asked before.
Great question. I know that when I first met Alpha, we were actually trying to do something similar, like the youth agripreneurs, kind of like Caribbean network and so forth. And while it hasn't really like done what it's supposed to, but we at HD, we are trying to put together like a forum like this, hopefully by next year. I know on the back end outside of just this network, but as we are social entrepreneurs, like I said, Alpha and I belong to the Ashoka network. We are also trying to build an ecosystem of social entrepreneurs, not just in agriculture, but in general. I think that is important because one, social entrepreneurship is not really understood in the region, and also they don't really understand the opportunities that arise within social entrepreneurship, the non-traditional financing that could be possible for agripreneurs, like impact investment rather than traditional loans and so forth. So we've been advocating, because I was the first English-speaking fellow, Alpha was the second. So we've been advocating within Ashoka to really push that forward, and hopefully we have something bubbling next year that could hopefully connect all those persons within the agricultural sector who are whether innovators, social entrepreneurs, and whatnot.
Thanks very much, Kathleen, for your response on those. Of course, as she said, lots of opportunities, and so contact Alpha, contact Kathleen to get more in-depth communication and information there. We have a number of persons asking how Alpha, I think this one would be for you, Alpha, how kids can be part of this program from across the region. We would have shared the website link, Alpha's email. You could find YFAM on Facebook, they're on Twitter and all those social medias. But Alpha, if you want to give a bit more information, and of course you could contact us through ICA, and then we can make those linkages through to Alpha and Kathleen for you.
Yeah, sure. Definitely we have a very exciting social media pages. We have on our website, we have a kids zone, and then we would be soon launching a Agriman YouTube page. We haven't really had a YouTube page since, well, we have a YFAM YouTube page, but not necessarily an Agriman YouTube page that is really specific for children. But generally though, it's something, as I said before, we have been thinking about, even Kathleen and I, in terms of how could we get Agriman into different islands, So Kathleen and I would be planning a sort of Agriman school tour or community visits soon, for St. Lucia. And we would love to make this happen on each island across the region. And I think via our ICA partners, I think this is how this could really happen easy, I'm saying easy, right? I think this could happen easy via our partners at ICA. But definitely what we would want to do is create agriculture kids clubs in all these different schools and whatnot across the region. If not necessarily for school, but definitely in different places across the region. So when we first started, we were getting like ambassadors across the region and different places in Africa and whatnot. So it's something that, as we have set up structure better, we wouldn't mind, engaging folks who's interested, in being like an ambassador, and we could set up an agriculture kids club in your locality, where Agriman is the center of it, photosynthesis is the center of it. You have the comic books, the activities, and even the camps that we do. You can literally just replicate it. We give you the content, and of course fit it into your language and whatnot. Which is all good, because culture is very, very, very important. There's a reason why we call it agriculture. you know, is a culture, and culture would vary. Some, I mean, across the region, we have very similar culture, but yet differ in different places as well too, which would, you know, we'd see it by our language, our dialect, our walk, our food, you know. So we do have different cultures, and we would want to respect that and make sure that, you know, in terms of these different islands, we could definitely replicate it, but also to make it fit your culture and your language. You know, so folks who are interested, you could reach out and we could have the conversation.
Thanks. And as most of you would know, and hopefully that you know, that in the English CARICOM Islands, we do have ICA offices. Also, we have an office in Haiti. We do invite Haiti to participate, and I'm sure we do have some Haitian participants with us today. And we have been working very much with ALPHA, our Agricultural Climate Action and Sustainability Program. That's ICA's program. Have been working very closely with YFAM to develop various products. We are working on, you know, building some stronger collaboration with Helen's Daughters. And so, you know, if we have partners out there, even individuals, and as you know, one of our objectives, back to our objectives of this forum again, is collaboration, building collaboration. And if you know, we have any partners out there in the audience or any individuals we're interested in partnering with ICA, ALPHA, and Kathleen, you reach out to us and we can have some discussion as to how we can, you know, bring these organizations and the work that they do across the region and into our schools, our youth, our women, our children. So just reach out to ICA, reach out to me. I normally send out a lot of information. We have our manager, Kelly, on here. We have Alista from the Barbados office, and we have Sharon from the St. Kitts office. So we do have ICA members there. So just reach out to our office and we can work and see how we can collaborate and extend to the other regions. Do we have any other questions? Anybody who have any other questions or any comment that they want to share before we close off? And so before we close off, I want to just share with you what's coming up next.
Yes, if I can jump in here, I want to embrace the networking. I think it works for me and it has been working for a lot of my colleagues. So I am willing to network with anybody. I put my number on the chat. So anybody feel free to contact me and we can collaborate. I love to collaborate, especially island to island, lateral collaboration, we call that. And I wish I can journey to St. Lucia with my brother there, but I don't know if the time will be right. But I really love these sort of intervention, going to speak with children and bringing them up to date as to what's happening in the world that they do not know about.
Excellent, Simeon. Definitely we will be taking you up on that. And so I will be sending up some follow-up emails, and so feel free to send me your contact information through email as well, and so I can compile that, and then our team can work towards, you know, setting up something to probably meet and plan the way forward on how we can execute that. And so we have completed our first two. So our first one was on Caribbean developed agriculture applications to help farmers adapt to climate change. So that we spoke about 2 agriculture apps that have been developed from the region. And so hopefully soon the Caribbean community one will be launched and made public soon. And the ICA Trinidad office with Cropper Foundation are working to extend that app to the rest of the Caribbean. In the meantime, the Trinidad participants is available to you. If you want more information about it, contact the ICA office and we can provide you some more details on how to utilize it and if you have any questions. Our follow-up webinar, we will speak about drone technology in building a sustainable and climate resilient agriculture. And so we will have Rose Funja of Africa. She will be sharing the African experience, just to get some experience outside of the region on what is happening. And also we will also go into technologies and strategies for beekeepers to adapt to climate change. and that will have the Ministry of Agriculture in Belize facilitating that presentation. They do have some interesting work going on there. And so this will be our third and final webinar. As we mentioned, a certificate of participation will be awarded to persons who would have been able to participate in all three of these sessions. And you can find us on Facebook, our Caribbean Climate Responsive Agriculture Forum. We are on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. You can email us. And so we will share whatever information and you'll get further updates. I will be sharing the recording and the PowerPoints with you. I will have to edit, and my sincere apologies again for the hack that we experienced today. And thank you for all of you who came back on to join us and to go into the discussion and question. And so just a little notice, ICA has a training. It is free, it's online, you do it at your own pace. For persons who are interested in doing a training on good agricultural practices and gap audit training, feel free to register for this session. And it is free. And so once you go on the website, you will get more information. I will share the link in the chat. Second. I will share the link in the chat for you. I will also share it via the my follow-up email to you. And so with that, Kiflin, Alpha, if you have any last words you want to share with the participants before we close.
Kiflin, I could go after you.
I was hoping that I would go last, but it's fine. I think just one is, as a region, let's honestly try to be more vocal, not necessarily about the deficiencies within the agricultural system, but let's be hopeful about the innovations that currently exist, because there is quite a bit of innovation. So let's try to root on the actors that already exist. Let's try to broaden our and deepen our connections. And kudos to ICA for you know, these types of interventions as well, so that we all can know what's going on. Thanks again.
Thanks, Kiflin. You know, when I think about the Caribbean, I think about a very indigenous, authentic people, you know, not changing our patois, our slang, our dialect, our accent for nobody. Yeah. And it's the same thing that we must apply when we are innovating. We must be as authentic as our 10, well, our fingers, you know, and we must be as, well, look for these indigenous things that our forefathers left us. I know our colleague, I think from St. Vincent, was saying that those things are being lost. You know, build museums that could restore this heritage and preserve those legacies. Because I am telling you all, that is what we need for us to survive, and connecting people to that. And I always mention IT meeting IT, indigenous techniques meeting information technology, finding the balance between that technology and that heritage and that legacy, right? It is very, very, very important. So, you know, I wanted to say, you know, we as a Caribbean people with food and agriculture, you know, and as we develop our solutions to our many problems, some of them we have solutions that are being hidden. Some of them need to come to the forefront. Some of them we have the solution hiding in your back pocket and you're afraid or you're ashamed or you're not sure. Be bold and be brave and bring it on. You all have something to contribute towards this world, towards our region, to make it a better place. And in your own simple way, in starting our conversation, my first thing was putting a hashtag on Facebook, why farm? Asking people why farm, you know, why you're farming, you know, that was, I remember that 2015, why farm, you know, and that conversation, that hashtag led into today, you know, 8 years later. So the power is within you, and the only people that doesn't succeed in life is those that give up. The only people that does not achieve their own dream is those that give up on their own dream. Tom, Dick, and Harry could give up on your dream, that end their dream, that your dream. Once you don't give up, we will and we must succeed. So may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you, Ika, for this forum. Thank you, Keithlin, for being a great co-presenter with me. I know we love to team up and do these kind of things, you know. So thank you very, very much. And I look forward to interacting. I sent some of you on my email, my contact, and I look forward to communicating with you all to make our region a better place. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Keithlin. Thank you, Alf, and thank you, the participants, for joining us today. And again, back to our objectives. We want to translate knowledge to action. So please let us collaborate. Let us reach out to Ika, reach out to Alpha, reach out to Keithlin, and let us translate all this information to action on the ground so we can address all of the issues, including climate, socioeconomic issues that are impacting us in the agriculture sector. So with that, I say thank you, and I will share with you again our short video, which I did from the start, which was developed through the comic book. So thank you, and I do wish everybody a pleasant afternoon and productive end of the week.
Hello, my name is Earthworm, and I have a secret to tell. This space that I dwell in is not doing very well. Why? People are physically plundering the space that I dwell in. And it's not like we can just give it 2 Panadols for its cracks and swell because my abode begins to feel like a cell. What are you to help? Well, could you help me get this message out to the proper personnel? Yes. I need you to help me wiggle. Wiggle to save my home. Because when my home is healthy, it helps with decomposition. When my home is healthy, it helps with food production. When my home is healthy, the world will have food security. When my home is healthy, it consumes the minerals that are good to make my fruits grow. Do you know, my home is responsible for trees and plants and humans and animals and birds to have protection and give them food and help them grow. So could you all help me wiggle to help these trees grow? Yes. When you mistreat my home, you pierce a hole in my most prized possession. And carbon emissions outgrow my slipper. Don't you tell me I should wear my size when your emission caused my home to be dry. So could you help me wiggle? And you can giggle.
And with that, I say thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I have shared the registration for part 3-on-3 that you can start registering. And so thank you, everyone, and do wish you all a lovely day.
Thank you guys very much, and I will sign up. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I will put it again in the chat for those who may have missed it.